he was just like, oh, I really want to get these prototypes done. And I was just like, you're making a big mistake and it's bullshit, but okay.
So yeah, December 2014, I got to try the NR90, and I have like very vivid, ingrained memory of where I put them on and what it felt like, and my initial impression of what it felt like to carve and turn and stride on the setup is one of my strongest skating memories, I think. And it's something that has stuck with me and I still think about sometimes when I'm skating now.
It was around 2014. I got a little bored about skating, honestly, because I was skating by myself a lot at the time. Even though I'm still skating by myself most of the time now, but I'm loving it now. Anyway, back then, my skating friends didn't skate that much. Actually, some of them even quit skating. So just doing same tricks at the same spot by myself, on and on, it was pretty boring. So it feels like nothing more special to me. So then I started to try another things like skiing, big wheel skating, and watching Stu and Leon videos and copying them, like imitating. And I was really into those things. So I tried to copy them with some free skates I have at the time. And after a few months, I felt like, well, this is not enough to perform the skating that I want to do. So, and then I ended up buying a pair of NL100. That was the beginning of my visual skating.
I didn't immediately take to Wizard at first. I was drinking the mushroom blading Kool-Aid, and I was on a like an FR, like a slalom setup with a big rocker and a short frame. So when I went to Wizard, it felt really restrictive to me at first because I was used to something that was like so like loose and playful and twitchy. I was just so used to it that I thought that was like the baseline of what this kind of like experimental style of skating was gonna feel like. And so when I tried Wizard for the first time, I kind of felt like railroaded a little bit, locked into place. I was actually a little surprised, maybe even a little disappointed at first when I first tried them. It didn't take long to realize that those were like, they're almost like necessary guardrails, distributing a very small rocker over a long, at the time, relatively long frame length, and realizing that that length gives you the stability and it gives you like the ability to flow much easier and longer. That's not a great answer, but I think that was like the aha moment for me. It was like, it was no longer like these twitchy kind of in space kind of like pirouette style spins. It was like these long arcing, controlled, methodical arches and movements and strides, whatever it may be. And then obviously lots of like skating with Leon and talking with Leon and just kind of like talking about the philosophy around some of the moves and stuff like that really kind of made sense. Like the more I was able to think about the movements critically, the more they made sense, and the more it made sense to like integrate them into like all styles of my skating, whether it be aggressive, more experimental big wheel, and even the wizard that I was doing was becoming more wizard-like. Because my early days of wizard were basically just aggressive skating on wizards, and then the more I learned about like the design of the frame, the restrictions of the frame, the abilities of the frame, like the more I knew how to harness the power that was built into them.
I think the experience of using a longer wheelbase than I ever had before was, it's sort of a counterintuitive thing where you know it's rockered before you use it, but you know that the wheels are much bigger than anything you've used before, and you kind of feel, how is this going to be any better feeling than a slalom setup, and how is it going to be any better feeling than a flat setup? At the time, it was difficult to understand what was so special about the frame and the experience it gives. For one, having more weight underneath you, combined with the energy transfer of just carving side to side, and sort of like what you get out of it without feeling unstable or that you're going to fall backwards or forwards like you might on a shorter wheelbase. It's just sort of a unison of all these things, and it took me like 0.5 seconds to be like, okay, I get it. I understand. Like, I know why Colin and Leon are so obsessed with what this is. And I think as soon as I started to use them, I was thinking about, okay, this enables this and it enables that, and maybe there's movements I can do now that I couldn't do on other setups, and that's sort of an exciting prospect. It really feels like something, or it felt like something that didn't exist before. It's such a novelty as someone that had used like various types of skates previous to that. It's like, yeah, this doesn't feel like anything else.
It's like snake oil. Like, obviously, it's like great and everything. But when he said that he was going to be selling, creating this new product that is a natural rocker, I was just like, that's like the biggest bullshit. But, it's worked out well, right? Obviously. And also, that causes me to have to look at how I was wrong about that. It has actually really answered something that I didn't think was a question.
I definitely couldn't have imagined not just like what it would look like in 10 years, but like the impact that it was going to have on literally everything that I do in skating. That I had no idea. When I first got into using big wheels for aggressive skating, it was very much like the same movements kind of that I would do on aggressive, except I would be doing them over like, say, rougher terrain, or I would be going a little faster or things like this. It was just like more of the same, and it just kind of opened some doors on either the amplitude or the variations of the terrain I could be skating. It just opened those doors. I could skate a cobblestone bank versus just a smooth one, It didn't change my skating. It just kind of like expanded it a little bit further in a very similar way. And I think when I first used Wizards, I was just doing the same thing, except now I had an aluminum frame with like a little rocker, and I didn't understand like at first I didn't understand how they could be controlled and how you can use them to generate momentum and retain your momentum and your stride and your flow. And all of this to say is that like, no, I could never have imagined that it was going to just fundamentally change the way I looked at all skating. And aggressive skating is a big one that it changed for me, but like my wizard skating itself just evolved, I would say so rapidly in the first like year to 2 years, where I was just all consumed by it, and all I wanted to do was figure out where the body could go, because it's all the body. Like, you don't need an obstacle to create movement. It's just you and your mind and your flexibility and your weight distribution and your ideas. And I think we've all dreamt of skating, no matter what style of skating you would do, but in the middle of the night I would just be dreaming of wizard skating and dreaming of new ideas and trying desperately to remember them in the morning when I would wake up, and forgetting them, but like understanding like the notion of what was like going into the idea of it, and playing around until I found it again, or found some variation of it that gave me that same feeling that I had in my dream, or something along those lines. Like, I've wandered off of your question, but it's like I would never guess that it would like have been like a full, it would have fully consumed me. I would have never guessed that.